Hi again, second time. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Ben. I'm a triathlon and running coach, and I am currently giving live a go at the same time as making two videos a week. One of which is on a Sunday, which is more of a video log of where I'm at. Some call it a vlog in terms of my training, what I do, how I'm doing it, and I also make videos on tutorials on a Tuesday called Tutorials because I love a bit of wordplay, giving you some tips on running or swimming or biking or strength training or just something that I think might be able to help you. So this week, it's a bit of a weird one, let's be honest. I have no idea where to start. When we were talking last week, we certainly weren't under the strict measures that we're under at the moment with the lockdown, and the world is currently struggling, let's be honest. And hey, Chris, how you doing? And I found a lot of things are struggling the last week, so I thought I might touch on that whilst answering some of the questions that people have asked over the week. I'll also talk about some of the ways that I'm dealing with this, how I'm helping myself get through this really strange time, and some of the complex issues that have come up surrounding this in terms of my training and my racing, and how I'm looking at that as well, and hope that it will help some people or even just start a conversation and that I can engage in and try and help myself as well. So let's start with a couple of the questions that I've had this week. Hey Scott, how you doing? Well, I'll talk about how I'm coping in a minute, and it's an interesting one, but I'm going to answer the questions first because Chad Hayden got in touch with me in the week and asked if I have a rest day, and if I do have a rest day, do I genuinely rest? Do I do nothing? And I can answer that quite easily because today I've had a rest day and I have done nothing, no training. The only thing I've done is my own 10-minute morning routine that I've decided, it was the thing that I put out a couple of weeks ago that I decided that I want to do every day for the rest of my life as my habit to start my day in the most positive way possible. So Chad, no, I haven't trained at all. I do genuinely have days off, and I really believe that the body needs that. I don't think that we can just cross train and call that a day off, because I think a rest should be a rest and a recovery. So yeah, I do have a day off. And then you've asked if you currently run 15 miles a week, would it be feasible for you to run a marathon in October? Definitely, 100%. You've got plenty of time. And if you build up sensibly, and I mean sensibly, like following the rules and training, running every other day, and maybe doing strength and conditioning in the times between that, then you'll be fine. Because the feedback I've got from any of the running plans that I've done is that if people get too excited too early on and run too much, they get injured and have to bail out of the plan. But if they follow the rules, if they run every other day and they take it easy and they build gradually, which is the plans that I've set are for that, building gradually, then most of the time they're absolutely fine. I can't rule out that people are going to get injured, because we all get injured from time to time, but you're safer doing it that way. So yeah, absolutely, you can run a marathon. I should have said that bit. Hey Matt, how you doing? So how did the 10-minute workout go for you? It is really working nicely for me and Mary. We're really finding it a real positive way to start our day. And Chris, yeah, I'm going to talk about that as well. You saying you're doing a sponsored run in May. I've got a few things coming up. We'll talk about that. Sorry if I look a bit ratty. I've been working, like, I am more full time now that I'm at home than when I was at work. It's unbelievable. I've taken on daily vlogging. I've set up another channel for children, for the children that I teach, but essentially for any children out there, called the Home PE Hub. And I'm making daily content, and it's making me work even harder than I was. And I didn't think I had any time in the day anyway. And now it's a lot. Hi Lee, how you doing, mate? Oh, Somerset, lovely down there, lovely part of the world. So next question, John Nguisha, I think that's how you pronounce your name, John, maybe, asked, do I always wear trainers? And the answer to that is yes, kind of. I mean, I work in them and I'm wearing them right now. In the summer, I wear flip-flops and I don't wear any footwear to bed, if that helps. But yeah, I predominantly wear trainers. I kind of recycle into my running trainers go into my daily wear trainers. So I kind of have this rotation going on like that. And the last one, and I did pick this up with one guy. I think his name was Alan. I should have written his name down. Sorry if it's not Alan, but he asked, how do I stay motivated to get out of the front door when motivation is low and when I'm struggling? And that's an interesting one, especially right now. But I have two mental tricks that I use when motivation is low to get me out of the door. One of them is the 5-second rule. And I've made a vlog about this before, but essentially it's a psychological trick. It's a psychological tip that helps you do anything before your brain has a chance to shut the idea down. So what you do is, if you have the thought about getting out and running, if you want to go out and running, give yourself a 5-second countdown. And on 1, you must move, you must get up, because it hardwires overwrites the brain's natural urge to then go, nah, can't be bothered after the 5 seconds. So I count myself down and I make myself get up at 1. I have to do it. So I'm up. That's the first thing. So then I'm getting changed, getting ready for the run. And the second thing I do to motivate myself to get out the door is I give myself 10 minutes of the runs. They're called the 10-minute rule as well. So you've got the 5-second rule and the 10-minute rule. And the 10-minute rule is that I give myself 10 minutes into the run. And if I'm really not enjoying it, if I'm really not feeling it, I'm allowed to stop there and come home. No questions asked, it's done. And 95%, if not more than that, I never come home after 10 minutes. But again, it's a way of kind of overwriting your brain's natural instinct to be comfortable and to want you to be safe and warm. And then you stay out. So they're the two tips I kind of use when motivation is low and help me get out of the door. Let's have a look. Alex, how you doing? Oh, you were training for London. So Alex has written that you've been training for your first marathon at London, plan to complete the training block. Other than strength work, what would you advise to maintain the fitness built up before the next training block? Okay, interesting one. If you're completing the training block, then you don't really need to maintain the fitness. I would build your way to London, run a marathon on the day, whether it be London Marathon or not, and then allow that natural rest afterwards before you then start the next training block. You don't need to maintain fitness. That's a fallacy. Fitness has peaks and troughs, and you have to, at some points in your training, allow your fitness to drop. Don't panic about that, because your body, whilst that's happening, is recovering and repairing and making you stronger to go again. So you don't necessarily have to maintain fitness. I wouldn't call it that. I always see it as just allowing yourself that rest before you go again. I don't know if that's explained it well enough. I think I spoke about it last week as well. Wayne, nice to see you, mate. Oh, okay. Hull Marathon, potentially. Hull or the Midnight Sun one in Tromsø. I mean, at the moment, Tromsø is winning that battle, but I'll never rule out a marathon. I'll never rule out a run. I just want to be able to run. So Chris, you've not been training recently. So again, like motivation, that's what you need. And you need to use those 5-second rule and the 10-minute rule. Simple as that. Just overwrite your brain, hardwired to keep you comfortable. Just get rid of that. Lee, is there such thing as doing too much base focus training? Could it result in losing top end power and speed? I don't know if there's such thing as too much. What I would say is that if you follow the 80-20 rule with all of your training, that is a sensible precaution. So that 80% is your easy runs, your base runs, the runs that are conversational pace, that you kind of feel like you're not really pushing yourself and not doing anything. But trust me, there are such juicy aerobic benefits to be had by doing that I would always recommend staying in your really easy zone for your really easy runs. And then the 20% of training is the top end stuff. And obviously, as you periodize, you can add stuff in or remove stuff. So you might go nearer to your race, depending on the distance. If it's a 5 or 10K, you might be doing more top end speed and do the base work earlier on. If you're going towards a marathon or an Ironman, it tends to be reversed. It tends to be that you do the speed stuff early on and then the base build up to it. So you can periodize or reverse periodize, but stick to the 80-20 rule and you'll do well. You'll be sound. Right, let's have it. I hope that answered it. So Ashley, can we get Winnie on the live stream? I don't know. She's down with Mary at the moment. I can call her, but I think she's locked herself in the kitchen because Mary's on the phone as well. I'll see if I can get her in a minute. Matthew Pinfield, hi mate, how you doing? Oh, thank you very much. So you did book Edinburgh as your first marathon, which has been rescheduled to early September, 3 weeks before Berlin, which you're also in. Should you do both, or is that too much? Interesting one. It will depend on where you're kind of at now in terms of what is your long-term running history. If you are very new to marathons, then it would be more of a struggle than if, let's say, you've done multiple marathons over the years and your body's kind of what I would call battle scarred and battle ready. It's not unthinkable, because what you can do is you can get yourself to a point where you just peak for 3 weeks. So you can build to that marathon, you can build to Edinburgh. And after Edinburgh, really, genuinely, you almost don't need to do very much training after that until you then run in Berlin. You can hold on to that fitness for a surprisingly long time. And, you know, if you do the right things and you recover in the right way, I think you'll be all right. I mean, it'll very much depend on, like I say, your history and how you feel after the Edinburgh Marathon, but it is doable. I mean, I've been coaching someone who was doing a half Ironman, and then the week after was doing Le Mans Mott, which is just an insane cycle. And all we were doing really was I was training her for a swim and a run half Iron, but for an Ironman bike. And so she was going to do back to back really big things within a week. So it is doable. But she's a very seasoned, experienced athlete who's represented Great Britain and actually medalled at Great Britain standard in her age group. So if this is your first season of doing marathons, it might be a bit of a different story. I don't know your history, but I hope that's answered your question. Let's have a look. Scott's, so you're doing weight training but not sure what exercises you should be doing. Yeah, well, you cannot go wrong with squats. And you can't go wrong with deadlifts as long as you get the technique right. So I suppose you could actually go wrong. But if you focus on the technique of squats and deadlifts, they're two very good compound movements that work a lot of different muscles that benefit you in your running. So when I set my athletes winter weights programs, sometimes I tend to stick with just squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups because they hit kind of all areas. And it doesn't need to be this overcomplicated session that blows people's minds and they can't remember what they're doing. It can just be progressive squats and progressive pull-ups and progressive deadlifts. So there is potential there to keep it simple, but to make really big strength gains. Scott Williams, hi mate. How can you help your mate who's lacking motivation to do any more running after his 10K was cancelled? Trying to motivate someone else is my passion, but it's also one of the hardest things that you can do, because if you're motivated, that's all good, but it's figuring out what motivates that other person. And for me, it would be potentially if someone's 10K was cancelled and they were starting to lack the motivation, I would tell them to run that 10K anyway. Intrinsically motivated people don't need medals. They don't need even a pat on the back. And what we all need to get nearer to is being so intrinsically motivated that really it doesn't matter whether we get the medal, whether we run the race or not. If we train for that distance, do that race. It's like me. So I have Ironman Copenhagen in August. And at this point, it's probably in the balance as whether it's on or not. But a few friends of mine and myself, we've made the commitment. We don't need the medal. We're going to do the Ironman on the day in August. I'm racing that race, whether it's actually officially on or not. It's just happening. And I don't need the medal. Whether I ever do an Ironman again, I don't know. I've had 2 cracks at Ironman Copenhagen. And if it's off this year as well. That's 2 times. So maybe someone is telling me, maybe Ironman's not for me. I don't know, but it's really hard to motivate someone and potentially offer them to come out for a run with you. You know, just make it enjoyable. Find some things that kind of trigger their love again, because often once people are back out running, they're like, oh yeah, I really do enjoy this. Like the feeling when you get back from a run is like nothing else. Hope that's helped. So Scott Brown, oh, how often should you be doing the weights workouts? I would say, I mean, over the winter, maybe 3 times a week, maybe a little bit more if you've already got a strength background. Around now, I mean, we're trapped in our homes, so there's no harm in doing it every other day and alternating with running and giving yourself that one day off. That's a potential. I'm certainly leaning towards that as well. So hi H4K4N. Hi Ben, would you suggest a treadmill for these days as we are at home? If yes, how many times? Oh, Hakan, sorry. How many times a week max? Again, all really dependent on your experience. If you want to run on the treadmill, brilliant. Knock yourself out. Don't literally, but you know what I mean. I don't think there's any harm in going outside right now, as long as we do really social distance ourselves. You're no more likely to get injured than you would be on a treadmill. I would say that if you're new to running, stick with alternate days running. Don't run every day just yet. Your body really needs a lot of time to catch up with the burden that running puts you through, the kind of stress on all of the muscles. Even me, I'm kind of injured right now. I have these long-standing Achilles injuries I'm really trying to heal, and I haven't run for weeks. So it is frustrating me, but even when I get back to running, I'm not going to get overexcited and do every single day. So I would say, yeah, treadmill's good. Getting out there's good. Every other day is good for running. Hope that helped. Andreas, hi mate, how you doing? So you're currently training for your first triathlon. Although you only train for a sprint, you found it hard to do the right amount of recovery. It is really difficult, especially when you're doing 3 different disciplines. My kind of rule of thumb for recovery is that swimming, if you're training for triathlon, swimming is an active recovery. You don't necessarily do the same damage to your body that you do when you run and cycle when you're swimming, because it's an eccentric rather than concentric muscular exercise. So a lot of the damage is done not in swimming. Your muscles need to repair a lot more when you're running and cycling. So you can use swimming as a recovery day. Still take certainly 1 day a week. This was my day completely off, and I'm back on it tomorrow. I think psychologically you really benefit from that rest as well. So it's not just a mental thing. I think sometimes we can get stale psychologically if we just carry on training. So recover, rest days once or twice a week. Could use a swim for one of those, I think. But just be sensible. Listen to your body. If you're feeling it, rest. There's no harm in that. It's the way the body works. It kind of tries to tell you, and sometimes we don't listen to it, but it does try. Okay, right. So your body feels awesome, and you've got the energy. You just feel kind of sick when you have 2 less recovery. Yeah, hopefully that's answered that. Make sure you get the recovery in. Scott, no, I'm not going out for runs at the moment because I can't. I am injured, and I probably could run, but I really I need my Achilles to heal, because if I'm going to have a good season, it's going to be at the end of the season with Ironman Copenhagen, then London Marathon, then New York Marathon. My Achilles won't deal with those if I don't really strengthen it now and let it get better. Okay, let's deal with a couple of quick things that I wanted to talk about. How I'm dealing with this lockdown and how I'm dealing with at home that I hope might help you. The first thing is, before I go to bed every night, I'm structuring my whole day the next day. I'm accounting for every single minute. So I'm not allowing any dead periods, because my brain and my body need to be active. So I'm writing down when I get my breaks. I'm writing down when I have lunch. I'm writing down when I do my work. And I'm writing down when I do kind of chores. because I have a little bit more flexibility now that I'm at home, that I don't have to necessarily do all my teaching day during the teaching day, because I have all evening. Like tonight, when I finish this, I'm going to go back to working on the video for the kids tomorrow to do their PE workout. So I'm working in the evening, and earlier today I cleared up the garage. Some other things we've done is we've really taken pride in our one coffee of the daytime. We've tried to make outdoors when it's sunny a coffee shop feel, because we're really missing that social interaction of being in a coffee shop and just having a latte and feeling like the world is right. And at the moment, it just feels a little bit lonely, but we're dealing with it as best we can by keeping our brains active, by structuring everything. I'm even building a home gym downstairs in our spare bedroom, because let's face it, it's a spare bedroom and nobody's going to be staying the night for a fair while. So we have all the equipment. I have a squat rack, a weights bench, everything. I'm moving all that in, and I've bought a smart turbo trainer because I'm finally going to get on Zwift. So I might set up a group ride at some point if I can work out how. And if people fancy coming for a group ride on Zwift with me, then I'm all for it. I think it's going to be my way of escaping this sanity. Because the last thing I want to talk about is it right to go outdoors for a bike ride? Now, I hold my hands up now. 2 days ago, I went to go out and I bottled it. I didn't go out because I thought, what if I do crash? What if I break my collarbone again? What happens? I don't want to overburden the NHS. I don't want to have to go to hospital. And as it turns out, I've spoken to a friend whose daughter had a bike crash and she broke her collarbone and went to hospital, and it needs an operation. And they said, sorry, we can't do it. So she could be compromised for the rest of her life because she can't get an operation on her collarbone when it needs it because of COVID-19. So I went out for a ride yesterday for my mental health because I can't run, but I think that's going to be me done for a while. I think I'm going to have to Zwift. I just don't think it's worth that risk to our NHS, but also to me and my health long term. I mean, what do you think? Leave me, let's start a discussion in the comments if you want to talk about it, because there is no right or wrong answer, and I certainly wouldn't judge people for going out. You just have to do what you feel is right for you. Let's have a look. Any other questions? My shoes. Which shoes are you talking about, Scott? The ones that I run in. I only ever run in Asics. In fact, actually, I can answer the question because all of my shoes are Asics. They're Asics Gel Nimbus. They're like running on clouds. I absolutely love them, and I would recommend them to anyone. And I've tried other trainers and either got injured or just not got on with them. So I do love my Asics Gel Nimbuses. Yeah, I'm still coaching, Andreas, although I'll be very honest. I've contacted all of the athletes that I coach, and I've said, if you want to take a break, I'm absolutely fine. Don't worry about me. This is not my living. I coach a good number of athletes as a sideline, but it's not my living. I will survive. Don't feel any guilt if you want to put it on hold. I'm never about the money anyway. I would just want to help people. So yeah, I still do coach. I still do help people, but we'll see where we go with that. Jake, yeah, you can. Yeah, can you build muscle and lose fat? Yeah, you can, absolutely. In fact, don't worry about the weight when you're training, because a lot of people, I think I spoke about it last week, a lot of people when they train, they can't work out why they haven't lost weight when they've been running, and it is because they're replacing the muscle with fat. So bear that in mind. Last thing, tent pegs. This is what's getting me through my day every day, and I know, like I alluded to earlier, one of my tent pegs, and these are tent pegs, by the way, are habits that you hammer into your day, boom, that you do every day. They're easy, they're positive, and they feel like a win, and they hold the rest of your life together. Okay, so that's what tent pegs are like. They hold tent together in a storm, like the storm we're facing out there. They're my tent pegs. I would urge you to go and find your own tent pegs. Just very quickly, mine are that I never hit the snooze button. I get up when my alarm goes off regardless, and then I do my 10-minute workout, another tent peg, and then I have a really good breakfast. Every morning, I don't ever skip breakfast. Another 10 peg. That's 3 wins within the first half an hour of my day. So we go positive from there. I make sure I drink 2 litres of water per day. I also make sure I exercise 6 days a week. And I put my phone in another room when I go to bed, so that is not a distraction. And then I actually talk to Mary, or I read, or I do something healthy like that. So try and find your own tent pegs. I have made a couple of videos about it somewhere back on the channel if you're interested in finding out more about the psychology behind it. But it started with a video I watched by a guy called General William McRaven, that he starts with the phrase, if you want to change the world, then you have to start by making your bed. And he's talking about tent pegs and where it all goes from there. So if you're interested, William McRaven, it's a fantastic speech. Okay, I've overtalked 25 minutes. Oh God. Well, I hope it's been a benefit. I've been answering as many questions as I can. I'll be here again, same time next week. I'll be here every week. If you have a question, then let me know either on this or a different video, and I'll write it down and I'll make sure I answer it next week. But for now, stay healthy, stay sane, stay safe. And I'll see you on Sunday for the vlog about my week and what's been happening and how I'm training. See you later.